Imagine a country where your house rent has been cleared, paid off by your government. Your hospital bill, your child hospital bill, your medical expenditure have been covered by the government. A country where a woman who puts to bed receives equivalent of $5,000, the country's currency, for the child upkeep. Newlywed couples receive about $50,000, the country's equivalent, just to start up a life, build a house, start up a business, and live very fine. This was the story of the Libyans during the reign of Muammar Gaddafi from 1969 to 2011. Let's dive into the story of Gaddafi for a short while. During the time of Muammar Gaddafi, the Libyan citizens enjoyed a vast self-funded economy that utilizes their oversized or overlarge oil reserve to subsidize the cost of living for Libyans and the citizens to almost zero. Although in exchange to this, there was a political crisis that brought about a social or implicit social contract, but every Libyan citizen benefited hugely from this particular economic system. By the way, we want to talk about a government who is doing perfectly fine for you and your household. During Muammar Gaddafi's reign, your educational bills for you or your child was completely free. Your child had the ability to go to school from primary to university level without worrying about school fees, uniform, or textbooks. Their medications was covered. Now note, if a child requires a particular educational system or medical treatment that the Libyan government could not afford, the president will pay for these particular services for the child to receive it overseas. As long as the child was able to get it, the government covered everything. Why? Libya had a functional system, a system that listens to the people and provided for their needs, in exchange to political speech being controlled. No one wants to talk about a government or talk negative about a government who is doing perfectly fine. I would not. I'm sure neither would you. Literacy level was recorded to move about 25% to 89% in Libya. Everyone had the ability to go to school. Employment was seen as nothing because everyone's almost employed. If you are not employed in Libya, you'll be receiving 50% of your profession until you get employed. And homelessness was abolished. Every particular Libyan had a house or a place they call home, covered by the government. It was illegal for a person in Libya to be houseless or to be homeless. Utilities were covered, electricity bill was almost zero because its cost was almost not reasonable. Petroleum was almost the cheapest in the world. Every Libyan had the ability to buy petrol for $0.14, $0.14 Libyan currency as of that time. There was no one who was complaining or who had the cause to complain about the Libyan government. But have you ever wondered what happened to Libya before the time of Muammar Gaddafi? Libya got its independence in 1951 under the reign of King Idris I. As of then, it was called the United Kingdom of Libya. Libya was highly impoverished. Libya and its citizens were living largely in poverty, depending on common agriculture, nomadic livestock herding, scrap metal gotten from World War II, selling them off to make out a life. It was difficult to be a Libyan as of that point in time, from 1951 to 1969. Though oil has not been discovered in Libya as of 1951, but the United States and the United Kingdom had an agreement with King Idris that they build their military bases in Libya, loaned them money. Yet the money being loaned to Libya and its government was not being used or it was not yielding positive fruits. Every Libyan agricultural produce was exported to the United States and United Kingdom for the citizens of these various countries over there and overseas. And the Libyan people was riding away in poverty. Fast forward to 1959, oil was discovered. Wealth increased to only a group of people. Inequality stepped in. The wealth was not properly shared. The king and his cohort were massively blessed by this oil, while the common Libyan will suffer. There was more agreement, more stronghold of the United States and United Kingdom in Libya, where King Idris largely or usually benefited from this particular agreement, leaving his people to while away in poverty. In Libya then, a sickness was seen as death sentence. Common disease was a death penalty. You could hardly provide for yourself, for your school, your medication, your feeding. Literacy level was too high that a common Libyan could not afford a primary education. A common Libyan would have to work their fingers out to get a 1 square meal. This is a country that has discovered oil. The president and the leader were doing perfectly fine. Yet, nothing changed. Fast forward to 1969, a 27-year brave and courageous man called General Muammar Gaddafi, with other officers, stood up in September 1969 to create a coup or form a coup that overthrew the government in his absence. Who is the government? King Idris, and delivered the Libyan people. There was huge jubilation, and the people of Libya celebrated it, knowing that a change came. Truly, the change really came. Although the political quiescence has been there since the time of King Idris, it continued during the time of Muammar Gaddafi, but this time for a different purpose. Your school fees was paid, your hospital bills were cleared off, Libyan citizens escaped debts. Bank loans in Libya was 0%, not almost zero, 0%. You take 10,000, you pay 10,000 back. There was no dependence on the United States or United Kingdom, nor France. Libya oil increased, equality stepped in, wealth circulated around the country. The Libyan citizens were very happy. From 1969, when Muammar Gaddafi stepped up, everything changed. Life became sweet. It was glorious to be a Libyan citizen. Remember, Muammar Gaddafi repeated or copied Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana that we need a united economy. We need a united military base or military system. We need a united currency in Africa to drive our wealth forward. Imagine Africa, a continent so blessed with mineral resources, finding it difficult to help their citizens. Libyan citizens had no cause to panic. Imagine I get married to a lady and I'm giving $50,000, not a loan, not a mortgage, a gift to start up a life. There is no person who receives $50,000 who wants to come back tomorrow to beg for money. Your wife gets pregnant and puts to bed, they receive $5,000 for the child. You finish your schooling, you have no job, you are paid 50% of your career till you find a job. It was glorious then to be a Libyan citizen. But what happened? All of a sudden, everything changed. A civil war grew up among Libyans, fighting the same government who brought them to a heaven that a religion talked about that they could not see. The American government stepped in, the United Kingdom stepped in, France stepped in. They confused the people of Libya to persuade Muammar Gaddafi to step down, that he has ruled for too long, and they believed them. There was war. There was great chaos in Libya. Missiles all over the sky. War was being created for fun. Those who created the war stayed in their countries and smiled, mocking the people of Libya. And the Libyan citizens fought against a government who brought them to dear lights, who made them celebrities among other people, who made them the number one citizens in Africa. They fought the same man who fed them. They beat the hand who fed them. And in October 2011, Muammar Gaddafi was captured. He was assaulted and was shot by his countrymen, rebel soldiers, in his hometown site of Libya. This was the story of a man who thought of good about his people. What was his crime? He nationalized the Libyan oil. He made his people live under massive, well-funded economy. He subsidized the cost of living to almost zero. Their kids had the ability to go to school at no cost. Or hospital bills was zero. Electrical bills was negligible or almost zero because you have no cost to worry about it. It was as tiny as anything tiny. Unemployment was seen as nothing because every unemployed citizen was fully paid. What was his crime? He loved these people. What was his crime? He ruled for 42 years. And in 42 years of his reign, the Libyans had no cause to be angry. Even when he was being attacked, African presidents could not step in to save their brother. They claimed that the United States asked them not to step in, that their safety could not be guaranteed on your own soil, on your own homeland. You are becoming a slave on your land. This was the story of Muammar Gaddafi, a man who loved these people. Sometimes you see why our president don't love us, because they are afraid of what we are going to do to them when the white man steps in to confuse us. I'm not saying our president should be negative or should be evil towards us. After all, we are human beings. But why should the people of Libya gang up against Muammar Gaddafi to fight him after his good deeds? Do you think Muammar Gaddafi deserved what he got? Do you think that Muammar Gaddafi did too much for the Libyan citizens? Do you think that Muammar Gaddafi didn't do enough for the Libyan citizens that make them believe the Americans and the British and turn against their presidents? Or do you think the coup he did in 1969 or he led in 1969 came back to haunt him? After all, he did the coup for a tangible reason. Or do you think equality is not good in a country? Or do you think that the citizens of a country should not benefit largely from the government? What was Muammar Gaddafi's crime? If you know, you can tell me. I'll be glad to listen. Remember, I'm the bringer of truth and the CEO of Jamaica Tours. I said Tokumbo cars and car spare parts. Listen more and hit more for business. I'll be waiting for you in the comment section. See you when I start saying.